This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 49 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network. We would like to thank our sponsors, Kentucky Performance Products. They offer supplements designed to give you the most value for your dollars. Visit them at kppusa.com. This is Chris Stafford in Lexington, Kentucky, and I'm joined this week by a special guest, Charlotte Bredall-Baker. Charlotte, thanks for coming on the Dressage Radio Show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we're going to make this show all about the USDF Adult Clinic Series, which I know is something that you've got intimately involved with. So you're going to tell us all about that this week.
Okay.
Well, first of all, let's talk a little bit about you, Charlotte. You know, for those listeners who are not familiar with your background, let's set the scene here and tell us a little bit about your background and the business and where you're based right now.
Well, I have ridden dressage all my life and been a trainer just about all my life, so since I was about 19 years old, and made it onto the Olympic team in '92 for Barcelona, and have had several really top horses at Grand Prix level, including Monsieur My Olympic Horse, and also Lugano, who made it onto the North American Championship for the top U.S. team. There were two U.S. teams there, and was the highest placed American horse there in the Grand Prix. And I am an FEIC judge now. That I just got that about a little over a year ago, and actually got to judge the test event in Lexington last week as a stand-in for Stephen Clark, who was stuck in London because of the volcano.
Oh yes,
so that was exciting to do that. And so I've been judging for about 20 years, and I have been teaching and training for probably 35 or at least 30 some years.
Well, so you have quite the business, and you're based in California. Tell us a little bit about your training establishment there, Charlotte.
Actually, my business at home now is very, very small. It used to be very big, but because I'm traveling so much, I had to just size way down, and I'm just riding my own two horses every day, and occasionally I'll have horses come in for a week or two if I know I'm going to be home. But since I'm traveling so much, I don't want the responsibility of having other people's horses here while I'm gone. And I have been gone more than I've been home, so I just needed to make that change, and I'm enjoying that. So when I'm home, I don't have so much. But between the clinics and the judging, that's keeping me very busy.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like a very hectic schedule, as you say, with all the traveling involved. Tell us how this series works, though. The U.S. Dressage Federation has had this established quite a while, and this year it's sponsored by Platinum Performance. Tell us how it's set up, Charlotte, and how you operate it.
Yeah, the way it works is that instead of hiring different clinicians for all the different clinics, which is what they used to do, I believe, starting with the last session with Jane Savoy, they now just hire one person to teach all 9 clinics in all the regions to keep some kind of consistency, and I think it also makes it easier for the marketing, too. And in each clinic, I'll teach 8 private lessons, 6 people for 2 days. And then usually we'll have quite a few auditors, and I try to really have a lot of interaction with the audience. And the more I get used to the format, the more interaction I'm having, and I'm really having a lot of fun with it. It's been great, and people are just so hungry to learn, and I watch people just take just lots and lots of notes and just very, very focused on learning. So it's very, very rewarding. I'm really enjoying that aspect of it compared to just when you do private clinics, you're just teaching the rider. But I'm really enjoying the added aspect of teaching the audience. It's a lot of fun. Very intense because you have to pretty much talk all the time. But I'm really enjoying it. Really, really enjoying it a lot. And we've been to really wonderful facilities. And the riders have been just really, really easy and fun to teach at all levels. And here in not this weekend, but the following weekend, I'm going to be teaching the next one at Hassler Dressage, Scott and Suzanne Hassler's place in Chesapeake City, Maryland. So I'm very excited about that. And they said they already 100 auditors, and so that should be a really nice clinic.
Well, that's a
facility also.
Let's just go back to last year. You began this series, did you, in 2009?
Right.
And
right.
So where did you start off?
I started out in Live Oak, Florida, and that was also a really wonderful facility. And it turned out they actually had little cottages on the property, so most of the riders were all staying on the property, and I was staying on the property, so it got to be very intimate because we basically had lunch, breakfast, and dinner together, and it made it for this very, very comfortable relationship during the clinic that everybody got to know each other, and all the riders were very supportive of each other. And like I said, the facility was really super. So that was a very good clinic. I think I really enjoyed it, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback from both riders and auditors.
And what sort of age groups are you getting primarily, or does it vary around the country, Charlotte?
No, it varies. Yeah, it varies, and it varies. I mean, within the group, you'll have anything from 19 to in the 60s or 70s even. So, and it's a mix of amateurs and professionals, which is also it's great for the audience because they see anything from training level to Grand Prix, and we've had that in most of the clinics, so that's been great. So they see a little bit of everything.
So how do you structure a day of these clinics then when you have such a diversity in both amateurs and professionals at different levels?
Well, we try to structure it the best we can. We try to structure it so it starts from the beginning level and then work our way up. And it's pretty much worked out that way. I mean, a couple of times there are people that might not be quite at the level they say they were, and the other way around. But it's been pretty close. It's been pretty close. And the last few clinics I've been getting videos ahead of time, so that makes it even easier for me to be really prepared for what I'm going to be working with them on. And then the other thing I do is I start out with a little video demo the first day in the morning, and it's actually a video of me riding a young horse, but it really shows some of the exercises they'll be doing and what I'll be working on. So give the riders a good idea of what we're going to be focusing on, which of course is going to be lots of basics and then going from there. But I think it helps the riders to have an idea of my philosophy and how I train.
And what would you do? How would you describe your philosophy if you were to characterize it?
Always trying to set the horse up for success is probably, the easiest way I can describe it. And teaching the riders to do that they're always setting the horse up to be successful and not set him up for failure. I think that's a huge one. And I'll demonstrate that through so many different exercises and ways that you can do that. And I think it makes a lot of sense for people.
And so when you go into these situations with each clinic being so different, would you have the videos of some of the riders, do you? But not all of them. So some of the riders could be, many of them could be unknown to you.
Well, most of them are known to me. And actually, for the first 3 clinics, I did not have any videos. But I mean, that's what I've done all my life, is go in and teach somebody I've never taught before when I do clinics. So that's, I think, after years of doing that, you get very good at assessing what you have and what you can do with them, and how far you can you can push them, et cetera, et cetera. The other thing that I think is a fun challenge is just the psychology of it all and trying to assess the riders' personalities and how to teach them, and because I think you teach everybody a little bit differently, and that's been a really fun challenge for me, because you have very short time to do it and then do it in front of a big crowd.
Now, do you
and of course the same with the horses.
Well, quite, yes. Now, do you see that there are a majority of them are women, females in your clinics?
Yes.
What's the kind of ratio? Because we do see that in the sport, but there must be boys out there that are coming up through the ranks too.
Yeah, I would have to say 80-90% women. Yeah, very few guys, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about these clinics in just a second, but before we go any further, we're going to hear from one of our sponsors here, Kentucky Performance Products. So don't go away. We'll be back in just a second.
And Kentucky Performance Products is a local company that offers you the quality assurance that you are looking for your sport horses. Each supplement is manufactured to exacting standards in certified facilities. Their ingredients are forged from highly reputable suppliers, and their formulas are fixed to ensure consistency in each bucket. Kentucky Performance Products has recently unveiled their newest product called Contribute. Unlike other omega-3 supplements, Contribute contains both plant and marine sources of omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids support virtually every system in the horse's body, including the immune system, reproductive system, nervous system, bone development, and the cardiovascular system. Contribute offers horse owners, breeders, and trainers an affordable way to provide beneficial omega-3 fatty acids to their horses. Learn more about Contribute and all the products at Kentucky Performance Products. That's kppusa.com. That's kppusa.com.
Well, Charlotte, as you said, you've been traveling around the country already. You started off in Live Oaks, Florida last year. Take us around the country. Where did you go from there?
I think the next one was Connecticut, and that was also a really, really super nice facility. A little bit out in the country, so I think maybe a little bit hard for auditors to get to, but a wonderful, wonderful facility, great setup, and the same thing there. I had anything from training level up to a very, very talented professional at Grand Prix level, and so it's a very, very nice progression all the way up through the levels, and again a very, very dedicated group of auditors, just great. No chit-chatting. I mean, just really, really focused on every word, which is really fantastic, I think. When you have a group sitting together, sometimes it can be hard to, keep them from just starting to have their own conversations, but they've been just great. They have just been so focused and, like I said, taken tons of notes. Actually, the clinic, besides Platinum Performance, also Allison Barnsby Notepad, they were also a sponsor, so they got little notebooks, and boy, they filled them up.
Uh-huh.
So that was the next one, and then the next one after that was in Arizona. Again, also a super nice facility, and we had a good turnout there, even though it was a little cold there. But good turnout, and again, there the top rider of the group was also schooling Grand Prix with her horse, very talented lady. And so she rode, and some of her students rode, and other trainers rode. And I actually, since I've been there, I've been back to her place 3 times already, doing private clinics.
Oh, wow. So it's been good for business, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I could not be doing any more than I'm doing now. It's maxed out. But that one is, because it's Arizona, it's not so far, so that's an easy trip from where I am. It's only an hour and a half flight, so that one is easy as far as travel. And then I've been to Mississippi, and again, another fantastic facility, the Mid-South Dressage Academy. And everything was under one roof, which was very, very nice, and including they had like almost like hotel rooms upstairs from the barns. I mean, they were that nice. And again, a lot of the riders stayed there, and I stayed there, and we just had a really good time getting to know each other. It was very, very nice. And huge arena, 2 dressage arenas next to each other, again under one roof. And also had a very good turnout there, and also again had a mix of, we had quite a few trainers there actually. I'd say at least half of them were trainers. And again, I think that went really well. And then after that I went to Minneapolis at the Lauderdale Equine Center right at the university, Minneapolis. And also a really good facility. Again, everything under one roof, which is so nice when you have any kind of weather, stabling. Except there was no housing. The people were staying in hotels. And I think that went really well too. And again, every time the audience has just been so dedicated to learning. It's really been very, very rewarding.
And now there are nine regions, Charlotte, of the U.S. Dressage Federation. So which regions? Which number were those regions that you've been to already?
Oh boy!
Is that a quiz question?
It is, because I don't have the I have the list of the ones that I have coming up, but I don't have the list of the ones I've done in front of me.
Okay.
And I'm not very good about remembering the regions. I just know the places.
We'll talk about the ones that you've got coming up. Then tell us where you are. We know you're off to Scott Hassler's Dressage.
Yes. And that is Region 1.
Okay.
And that's May 9th and 10th. And then I am not doing another one until the fall, and that is going to be Region 2, October 30th and 31st, and that is called Rosebud Ranch Equestrian Center. And it's in Brookston, Indiana.
Okay.
That's the next one, yeah.
Now, how are these selected, Charlotte?
The locations?
Yes, how are the venues selected for the clinics?
No, I am not really sure, but I think I think the region decides on probably the best venue.
Okay, so eventually, over the
regional director or something like that is my guess, that they decide on which is the most suitable facility.
So over the 2 years, then last year and this year, you're going to have visited all the 9 regions of the USDF.
Yes, correct.
That's right across the country. So everyone gets a chance to participate in these then?
Yes, exactly.
And how many people can you take in any one clinic, Charlotte?
Well, only the 8 riders. And
okay.
The 8 riders get to ride 2 days, and that's standard every time. And then as far as auditors, it's pretty unlimited. Yeah, because the facilities they've been really quite big, can take a lot. Like I said, I think there's going to be there's 100 that signed up for the next one, and then we usually have quite a few walk-ins too.
Now, do they have to be USDF members?
No.
So it is open to anyone then who would like to audit?
Absolutely.
And
get a break if they sign up ahead of time. That's
okay. And do you find then that most of the riders, even at the very lowest levels, they are competing, or are they thinking of competing? Do you get any riders that have not actually got into the competition arena yet?
I would say I may have had like one in each clinic not competing, but everybody else has been competing at some level. Yeah.
So what have you found has motivated the less experienced riders, the amateurs? What are they most hungry for?
I think they're all really hungry just for learning. Yeah, mm-hmm. I mean, very, very excited about getting new exercises and just new ideas. And when I teach, I try to keep things very simple and uncomplicated. Doesn't mean it's easy. It's not easy at all. But I try to keep it so anybody can understand it. That's just the way I teach anyways, but so it really makes sense. It's not such a, sometimes you can hear people talk about dressage in a way that it's kind of hard to understand. You know what I mean? I try to keep it really, really to the basics all the time. No matter what if I'm talking about Grand Prix or whatever, it's always keeping it simple, because it really is. It's very difficult, but it's simple. I mean, it's logical. So, but I think a lot of people just get very excited about just learning new things.
And have you found that you've had any converts from other sports that are using these clinics to introduce themselves to dressage?
No, not really. Not really. No, I can't say that.
That they are already in the sport or have had some involvement with the sport, and
Because I don't think it's really marketed outside of dressage, so I don't think they would hear about it probably.
Well, interesting. Well, we're going to take another short break here, Charlotte, and when we come back, we'll find out a little bit more about how people can get involved, how they find out about the Platinum Performance USDF Adult Clinic Series. So don't go away. We'll be back in just a second to hear more from Charlotte Bradall-Baker.
Glenn the Geek here, and we get many emails every week from people who really like the shows, and they ask how they can help support the Horse Radio Network. Well, you already do that by listening to the shows and by buying from all of our fantastic sponsors. And now you can add to that by supporting us directly and very easily. The next time you need something from Amazon, just go to any of our websites and click on the Amazon banner in the middle of the page. Then go on and buy your Amazon items. It won't cost you a penny more, just an extra click. But Amazon gives us a little bit back just because you clicked on the banner. Tell your family and friends to do the same thing. Every little bit helps us to keep giving you the quality equestrian programming that you have come to love. Thanks for listening.
Well, Charlotte, we talked about where these are taking place and the kind of people that have been involved, and it's open to auditors. How do you find out more about this presumably through the USDF?
Yeah, you just go through the USDF website.
Okay.
And there's all the information is on there, on the forums and everything. If you're interested in riding, and I think sometimes people think, well, maybe they're not advanced enough to sign up for the riding, but they should try anyways, because we definitely want all levels. So, I really encourage people to give it a try, no matter what level and no matter what ability.
And what do you find most rewarding from these clinics? Is that the rider's sort of hunger for knowledge? Is that the most satisfying as a clinician, that you're able to share your knowledge with all levels and not just the upper level riders?
Yeah, absolutely. And then the feedback I get from the riders, and even sometimes after the clinics, I get emails and stuff like that. So that's very, very, very rewarding when you feel like you made a difference in somebody's riding, long term. That's very rewarding, for sure.
And do you find with them at different levels, do you find that there are sort of typical things that they need attention? Any particular aspects of their riding or training progress when they come to those clinics, that they're stuck on something? Is there anything that's typical?
I think overall, just many times there is a lack of really good basics. So we always end up going back to that first and then go on from there once we worked on that. But a really good connection. All the basic parts need work on with many of them. I mean, very few of them come in and I can just go on without having to go through a lot of the basics. But at the same time, many of them pick it up very, very quickly and really get a better feel for what it's supposed to feel like.
And some clinicians focus a lot on the rider's position, and others look at the whole picture, the horse and rider, and the way the horse is going, obviously, and some don't define and don't separate the two. But I know there are clinicians that do focus on rider position. Where do you focus on when you're first assessing?
I balance it all out. Like when I first watch for just the first 5 minutes, I see there's a lot of things you can't fix in one lesson, but I always think about what is the thing that's holding this rider back more than anything else. Mm-hmm. And then I'll really address that, a lot. But But I balance it out. I always work on the position, but I don't make that the all-encompassing. It's always working on everything and lots of work on the basics. But especially if there's something in the position that really hinders, them from moving on, then I'll be more assertive about that. So it just depends. If it's little things, then I'm not going to be so picky on it.
Uh-huh.
But I'll mention it. But if it's really a hindrance for the rider to move on, then I'll address it a lot. And then I'll involve the audience, which is really fun, and say, okay, it's like sometimes I'll be in the middle of the arena and I'll ask the audience, for instance, is her outside leg too far back, maybe causing the hunches to go in? And I really get the audience into really watching everything. And they learn so much more that way. I'll say, how about, is that enough impulsion? What do you think? How about, are the hunches coming in, out, or stuff like that? And it just makes them really, really pay attention, and I think they get so much more out of it that way, and they love it. And the riders don't mind it because I try to do it in a very, very positive manner.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm never putting the riders down. So it's just more like a fun exercise. And the riders get, actually in all the clinics, the riders have been, the audience have applauded after every ride and lesson and stuff, which is very nice for the riders.
Yeah, absolutely. And very encouraging if, as you say, you get that kind of support and they'll go away feeling good about themselves, that they've had the benefit of so much input there. Do you find that these riders are ambitious in terms of advancing to the next level, or they are? Uh-huh.
Well, every rider is different. Everybody has a different goal. In fact, before I teach them, I have a bio on each rider, and they talk about what their goals are, and every rider is different,
And so they're ambitious in terms of moving up the levels and competing. And do you get many riders that really want to make it all the way to the top and emulate you and become an Olympian?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I've been teaching some very, very, very talented riders that definitely have the ability to go all the way.
So when you've been doing this talent spotting as well, do you share these with Anne Gribbons?
I haven't done that, but I should. You're right, because I've been doing it at the shows and stuff, but we haven't really talked about the clinics, but I should do that.
Yeah, maybe she'd appreciate a phone call and say, "You look out for so-and-so."
Yeah, I talk to her all the time, and I've been sort of spotting for her in California at the shows. But we haven't really talked so much about the clinics. But absolutely, that's a good point.
Well, I'm sure this is one wonderful way to bring the riders up through the levels and have the benefit of someone's experience as much as you have, Charlotte. And as you say, you get something out of it too, don't you? With every horse, every rider you see.
I get a lot out of it, and one thing for me, it's always been sort of an issue, is I've never been all that comfortable in front of a big group of people as far as talking. I don't mind riding in front of a big group, but I never been really comfortable talking. And I have to say, now I'm at a point where I'm really enjoying it. So that for me is huge. I never thought that would happen, but
that's great.
But I'm really enjoying it, and each time it's just more and more comfortable, and I'm having more and more really fun with it because it's so rewarding. So no, I'm really loving it. I really am. I look forward to each one. And
are these sessions videotaped at all, Charlotte? Can we see them anywhere?
Actually, they haven't been, but the next one at Scott Hassler, that one will be. Yeah. And
remind us all of the dates of that one, Charlotte, if you would.
Yes, it is. I just put it somewhere. 8th and 9th. May 8th and 9th.
May 8th and 9th. Just next week.
Sorry, let me mention the last two that I didn't mention before, just so people they can put them on the calendar. There's going to be one in California, Region 7, November 20th and 21st. And then there's one more. Okay, it is. That is going to be next year, and that is going to be Region 6, March 19th and 20th. And that's going to be at Summervale Farm. And that's in Roy, Washington.
Well, you are getting around the country.
Yeah, Yeah.
Terrific. Well, we will put a link on our website to the USDF's pages where you can find more information about the Platinum Performance USDF Adult Clinic Series, which are being led by Charlotte Bredall Baker. You can download the forms there and the documents and register for those clinics, which obviously sound not just very educational, but also a lot of fun. But it's because it sounds like you're having a lot of fun as well, Charlotte.
Absolutely.
Well, it's been fun finding out more about them, and I appreciate you spending time with us this week. And as I said, we will put links on our show notes to that clinic series, and also to find out more about Charlotte on her website. We will put a link on our show notes too. So I want to thank you again for joining us, Charlotte. We're coming now to the end of our show this week, which has been all about the USDF Adult Clinic Series, headed by Charlotte Bredall Baker. And those links, as I said, will be on our website. Don't forget, you can also check our Facebook fan page where you can follow our updates. You can also follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio and myself at Chris E. Stafford. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions for the show, you can reach me, Chris at horseradionetwork.com, or if you prefer, leave me a voicemail at 270-803-0025. I'd like to thank our sponsors again for supporting the show, and I hope you will support them as they support us. Also want to thank our backstage crew here, Glenn the Geek and Brian the Editor, for getting this show out every week. And remind you of the other shows. I also host the Eventing Radio Show and the Jumping Radio Show, and the Eventing Radio Show has lots of episodes. Last week we did daily coverage of the Rolex Kentucky 3-day event, so you can check those out at eventingradio.com. I'll be back here next week with the Dressage Radio Show. As always, I want to thank you for listening, and until then, take care, enjoy your riding, and don't forget to tune in every week to the Dressage Radio Show.